Alexandre Pantoja appears to have his opponent, MMA coverage suffers a major loss, and fans are concerned for Ryan Garcia. These are today's topics. My name is Flo. Welcome to the Championship Rounds. Once again, I'm starting the week a bit delayed, so I won't talk about the past weekend anymore. I would have relatively little to say about the UFC event anyway. The one event was somewhat bizarre, but I should report about the Oktagon Gamechanger lightweight tournament. Because the British fighter Oktagon Wanless was attacked by his opponent's coaches before they went due to his disrespectful behavior, the fight between him and Sahil Siraj has been postponed to the upcoming event in Birmingham. Additionally, Oktagon has apparently banned both coaches from their events for life, so no idea who will be in the Swedish corner in April. Kape also had to cancel his tournament start due to injury, so not all quarterfinalists are known yet, but here were the results of the draws for that tournament stage. There are definitely some exciting matchups. UFC flyweight champion Alexandre Pantoja mentioned before last weekend that he might give Muhammad Mokaev a title shot if he would win dominantly against Alex Perez. Mokaev mentioned that he vomited the morning before the fight and even posted a photo of it afterwards, so he was probably not at 100%, but it was not a very clear victory, that's for sure. But a Brazilian champion is still needed for the pay-per-view planned in Rio de Janeiro in early May, and aside from Alex Pereira, who is already active at UFC 300, Pantoja is currently the only one. Mokaev and Rival also had a bit of beef on Twitter about who should get the shot, but a tweet from the current number 6 in the rankings, Manel Kape, now suggests that he might get the chance to fight for the gold before those two. He wrote 8 weeks to get into action again, and let me be honest with you, they are not at my level at all. And new 2024 UFC flyweight world champion. I am very curious to see if his striking can really do something against Pantoja if we actually see this fight. When it comes to MMA coverage, there was quite a sad news regarding the website Bloody Elbow. It was announced that they were acquired by GRV Media. On their website, it was simultaneously announced that none of the current employees would be taken over. Bloody Elbow has been around since 2007 and various people have worked there for years. Just for that reason alone, it's very bitter. In the Bloody Elbow newsletter, it was said that a part of the team will continue report on MMA under a different name, but Bloody Elbow, as we know it, is history. And I can only say that this is a huge loss. Bloody Elbow was the news website that still wrote critical articles. They reported on the financial problems, simply lies and questionable methods of one championship. They extensively covered the antitrust lawsuit and evaluated various documents that came to light in this process. They always talked about fighter rights and stuff like that. Of course, there are various other news portals, but when it came to critical voices, I don't know, 95% of the time they came from Bloody Elbow. And I know voices from Germany who say they never really liked Bloody Elbow because they somehow hate the UFC, but these are all people who don't really understand how important their role was. Organizations don't want critical questions on their media days. Those who critically question the UFC or elsewhere are banned from those events. And most of the journalists live from doing fighter interviews and being on site on media day, which is why they all behave well and only spread happy, good vibes. And don't get me wrong, I'm a UFC fan, but at a UFC event, Monia Lazes thanked a drug baron. Chimaev asked for a weapon so he can go to Palestine with it, and every second fighter begs for a bonus, but still no one is allowed to speak critically about fighter pay. Of course, people are also needed to do good vibe interviews with fighters, and I'm fine with the Nina drama doing that, but this sport definitely has some dark sides, and we urgently need journalists to uncover and draw attention to them. But the new owners of Bloody Elbow apparently seem to prefer making reports that organizations don't get upset about. Of course, this could also generate more money. The reports on the antitrust lawsuit by Bloody Elbow, for example, have already been deleted. Very alarming. And speaking of this legal case, in episode 4 I reported about the witnesses that are supposed to represent the UFC in this case. These 13 witnesses for the UFC are out of the upcoming trial. Judge Bowler ruled they weren't properly disclosed. This was reported by Paul Gift, who was in attendance at the UFC pre-trial conference, whatever that is. I don't really want to deal with gossip here, but what was definitely quite bizarre in the last few days is what Ryan Garcia has been doing on social media, or someone else on his accounts, who knows. I don't follow it too intensely, but what I caught first were a bit of random statements about women at the beginning. Many of the captions were so exaggerated that it became clear they were not meant seriously. Then at the press conference for the fight against Haney, there were these accusations about cocaine, which he commented on. He just said that he drinks and smokes weed. That might be funny to some, but is probably also not the perfect answer for a professional athlete, and these posts, certainly published in much greater number concerning many fans, then culminated. On Garcia's social media, a 6-second long shaky video from his house appeared, a text was displayed that was slightly different on all platforms, random letters and numbers were always included, always something about Satan was written and the number 666 displayed. On Twitter it said, "We slit Ryan Garcia's throat and threw him in the basket, nobody will find him now, Satan is sitting at the top now, Ryan Garcia, RIP bitch, we told you that we were coming." On Instagram, something different was written to the same video, but it was not less disturbing. Something like, "The death of Ryan Garcia, this is why you don't mess with us," at the top. Very strange. Yesterday then came a video from him in which it was said that things will be clarified, but they really weren't. He says he no longer has access to Instagram, also his cards have been locked, he can't access his money, he believes in Jesus and he's doing well. They are trying to put him in jail. Whatever is going on, it definitely doesn't seem very clear and mentally healthy. His father Henry supposedly replied to a fan on Instagram saying everything is okay and Ryan is just trolling in the wrong way. Let's just hope it's really that simple. Pat Sabatini had to cancel his planned fight against Nate Landwehr on March 13th. According to Alex Behunin, Landwehr is expected to stay on the card. It would definitely be sad if not. And also Billy Quarantillo loses his opponent for March 23rd, according to Nolan King. Gabriel Miranda had to cancel the fight as well. No replacement has been heard of yet. On the same date, Junior Tafa had to cancel his fight versus Karl Williams. His brother Justin Tafa will replace him after it was the other way around 2 or 3 weeks ago. Junior replaced Justin against De Lima at the last minute. Funny how the Tafa gang handles the dropouts lately. Abus Magomedov will fight Junyon Park on May 18th. Abus announced it first on his YouTube channel. He didn't mention a name, but the few details were enough for fans to know who he's fighting against. It will probably be his last chance to stay in the UFC. And according to AG Fight, Elves Brener and Myktybek Orolbai will face each other on May 4th at UFC 301. Elves Brener is definitely one of the upcoming fighters from 2023, at least in my opinion. I'm excited to see if he continues in the same way this year. With this information, I already end today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. Of course, feel free to subscribe to not miss any future episodes. And with that being said, see you next time.